accomplices to serial killers, missing persons, and more.
100% he did this.
I'd go off in the fantasy world.
How much more lucky can you get that you're not on death row?
You want to know what we know.
My name is Jay. This is Guilty of Crime.
What's up, party people, on a Saturday? Somebody just hit that 111. Sue hit the 111. What's going on? Hello from Scotland. Can everybody hear me? Every time I ask that, people say loud and clear. So hopefully, what's up, Chumba? And everybody's talking to everybody, saying hello. Hello, Millie. All right, so Saturday, I'm watching YouTube, and it's kind of boring today. There's a lot of talk about Karen Reed, which I wish they would just get to already. And yeah, there's a lot to talk about. Then I see Deception Detective, and I realize there's a wave coming on, folks. Hit that like button. Hey, see me 72. Hit that like button if you want to catch that wave of information that's coming. You know it's coming when more information starts coming out and getting blasted, and you see things like this, and you hear assessments from police off the cuff, and you hear lots of things in the background from Florida. So hit that like button. Today we're going to talk about if Jenn Soto was manipulated, or do we think she's guilty? And then we're going to talk about same scenario, good versus evil mothers, which we're going to show the difference between in the interviews and analyze them as well. And we are going to show you how to spot deceit even more than you already know how to do. So,
why I talked about not breathing.
1 second here. All right, so Deception Detective came out with a video this morning called Manipulated by a Psychopath, ? And it's with Jennifer Soto. So this is, I think, maybe his third one in the series with Jennifer Soto. And I'm all over that because when Deception Detective talks, I'm listening. Hello, Brenda Pavey. Everyone join a day in the pool and listening to Jay. Well, that's a good day. I'm inside just chilling out. And I saw this and I said, we got to go. It's go time. So let's get started with Deception Detective. And we're gonna compare, and we're gonna analyze Jennifer Soto, Jocelyn Nungary, and Megan Boswell. And you're gonna see the difference between them, all similar circumstances, all mothers. You guys are gonna love this.
I'm sure that when the autopsy report is revealed, that they killed Madeline either by strangling her or suffocating her or covering her mouth and her nose to pass her out and then doing something else to her. In other words, when she thinks about Madeline, she thinks about breathing, probably because she's recalling something about restricting Madeline's airway. Months ago, I predicted Madeline Soto's cause of death using Jennifer's words. That's the clip I just played. Jennifer could only have leaked that information if she knew how Madeline died at the time of the interview. But many argue that she didn't know, and that her boyfriend Stephan Sterns tricked her into believing that Madeline had genuinely been kidnapped. I personally don't buy it, and in this video, I'll show you more reasons why. I'm Deception Detective, an attorney trained in statement analysis, and this channel exposes
liars, manipulators, psychopaths, etc. So if you're on the side that you think Jennifer Soto was manipulated, we're going to tell you why we think that she wasn't manipulated, and we're going to show you why, and then we're going to compare. And we're not just going to do it by saying we think so because we said so. We're going to show you why and how and what and words, and a trained attorney that's talking here. Handsome Devil 13, 4 a.m. You look like a pretty handsome devil in that picture, 4 a.m. All right, let's go. If you all questions, let's answer them now.
Lies and manipulation. Today we'll analyze another interview Jenn did before Madeline's body was recovered for more signs that she already knew Madeline was dead. Quickly, before we get into that, we've hit an incredible milestone on the channel, 100,000 subscribers. This journey from starting my channel to leaving YouTube to coming back has been amazing, and I am grateful to each and every one of you for subscribing and watching my videos. I actually chose to mark this milestone with this particular case because of something I said in the first part of this series. I want them to be afraid. And I wish my channel were larger so that Jennifer Soto and Stephan Sterns would have been too scared to do this because they knew someone like me or one of the members or subscribers of my channel would be onto them.
Like Guilty of Crime, and we love Deception Detective, but don't be greedy. You just hit 100,000, sir. And I wish he was in here right now because I know he's got the same sense of humor. He hit 100,000, and everybody in here, the crime crew, loves Deception Detective. He's smart, handsome, and he's a practicing attorney who came out with this deception deck that helps us spot deception. All right, so we're going to use that as we go as well, and we're going to listen to him do that. Julie, don't forget to give Jay. Don't forget to give Jay. I'm not sure what that means, but okay.
Maybe the next Jenn Soto or Stephan Sterns will stop and think twice because they know all of us are watching.
Jenn, go ahead and tell us what's going on with Maddie.
Well, Monday morning, we took her to school. We dropped her off close to school, across the street from a church, which is it's right next to the school.
And keep an eye on the way she looks, how alert she is. And the reason I'm saying this before we get started, I want you to know this is new. This is brand stinking new. It just came out this morning, and I got onto it right away so that I could share it with you all. And I'm sorry if I'm loud, but Dee Dee's side is a little bit lower, and so I can't adjust back and forth. But this is brand new content, just came out. It's not old, so pay attention. We're not doing body language. We're actually analyzing her words and what she talks about, etc. Still, pay attention to her big bulgy eyes and her mannerisms. It's still very telling.
She crossed the street and walked to school, what we thought walked to school. My boyfriend who drove her to school drove away at that point. It was seen on video footage that she hung out in the parking lot of the church for a few minutes and then got up and walked towards the school. But she never made it from that walk and that was around 9 a.m. when she got up. She never made it to school after that. It's right next to the school. I don't know why she didn't make it. I don't know if something happened on her walk along the way or if she got taken, but she never made it.
I've already pointed out all the signs of deception in this story in other videos in this series, so I won't go over all of them again here. Instead, for this video, let's assume that Jenn believed this was a true story because Stephan Sterns fooled her. Could we still determine if she had guilty knowledge? Yes, and the first sign is that she told this story at all. When innocent parents of missing children get a chance to go on the news, their priority is to get help finding their kid. So in response to the interviewer's question, what's going on with Maddie? They'd say she's been missing for a week and ask for help finding her. Or they might express concern about what she's going through so that the public actually cares enough to help. How did Jenn respond? She spent a minute reciting a scripted alibi story, which is an unusual priority whether she believed the story was true or not. Let's keep listening because it gets a lot worse.
Am I really? Oh, that was a fail. Okay, it's okay. You guys were watching me, blah, 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 and it's a Saturday, so thank you. Honeydew, Ponddew, and all that stuff. This is a different perception and a brand new video is what I was saying. Watch the different facets besides the we. Thank you, Sophie, for the 99-cent super sticker, even though I accidentally muted myself. All right. My mic is a little touchy there, and I'm good now. It's on. All right. I didn't start over. Nisi, what are you talking about? All right. Yeah, we're not going to start over. You can hear me. I accidentally touched the side of my mic and it muted. So all I said was that we're touching on different facets of the video that you have not seen before. And it's so much deeper than we. All right. And thank you, Honeydew Duke, Pondu, and Carly right away said no. Okay, so all right, that happens. This video is much more than it's a new video. That's Stephan Sterns behind her, and he's cracking his knuckles. He gets very uncomfortable when they talk about liking a boy. Again, different perspective right now and different information right now than you've ever heard before because it just came out this morning, and I'm so excited about it. I also am excited to show you a mother that's grieving and is being real without a scripted version, and a mother that isn't, and then a mother that is. I'm very excited today. Thank you for gifting a membership. Let's go.
She never made it from that walk and that was around 9 a.m. when she got up. She never made it to school after that. It's right next to the school. I don't know why she didn't make it. I don't know if something happened on her walk along the way or if she got taken, but she never made it.
And that was the last.
And before Deception Detective comes in on that, I have to call out this card, which he doesn't. In the deck, it says explanations. And right then and there, she said, I don't know why she didn't make it to school. It was a short walk. This is a liar. It's a deck to spot deception. And in this deck, it says liars tend to offer explanations for why things happened, revealing their insecurity and expectation of disbelief. In contrast, honest individuals usually present facts straightforwardly, allowing the truth to stand on its own. If a story includes superfluous, I don't even know how to say that, superfluous, whatever, explanations, it might be a sign of deception. So right there was a sign of deception by her trying to explain that little portion of why she doesn't think she made it to school. There was no reason for that. She should have said, we just want Maddie home. Here's a picture of her, whatever. Dee Dee didn't catch that, but he's going to catch a lot more.
Has anyone seen of her or heard from her?
Yes. I went to pick her up after school. And she wasn't there. So I started driving around, maybe thinking she took a walk. Maybe she decided to walk to my mom's office, which is pretty close to the school as well. Drove around and I didn't see anything. I drove back to the school. The school was closed. I emailed one of her teachers. They confirmed that she was absent all day. At that point is when I called 911 because I realized something was truly wrong.
You also
You heard from like any of her friends? Has she been active on any social media?
She hasn't been active on social media, none of her chats, none of her games. We did contact all her friends. None of them had seen her Monday or heard from her. Yeah, there's no update.
That awkward silence you heard was not a glitch. After Jen said there's been no update, she simply stopped talking. And if you see my video, What Do Innocent Parents Look Like?, you'll know just how unusual and revealing that is. That's because actual parents of missing children are very talkative.
Not only are they very talkative, but it's not just like, hey, here's what it is, end of story, we're done. And that's what she did because she didn't want to any more digging into the situation. She wanted it to be whatever she told them that it was and not ask questions for them, not to say, well, you drove to the school and wait, I thought your mom called 911. You never called 911. She just wanted it to be the end of that. And I don't want to keep bringing that up because we've already gone over that, but we know the wheeze and we know that she never called 911. Jay, do I get the deception deck from Dee Dee? Yes, you do. Somebody can drop a link. All right, let's keep going. This deck is fantastic. And when I do collaborations with Deception Detective, I use these cards and sometimes I catch things that he's not using and it's just great. It's a love fest.
In fact, they often steamroll their interviewers because they want to accomplish so many things in the limited time they have on the air. And I'll go over what those are the next time I pause. For now, just note Jen's lack of urgency. She's taking time to pause, and she's only answering the questions she's asked. She doesn't seem to have any agenda of her own besides establishing her alibi at this point. In other words, she sounds more like a mischievous student who's been sent to the principal's office, or a neglectful parent who's sitting down for a meeting with CPS than someone who's trying to solicit help from the public. In my opinion, the reason for this is very simple. She knows she doesn't need the public's help because she knows Madeline is beyond helping.
We did contact all her friends. None of them had seen her Monday or heard.
And again, you're going to hear we a whole bunch of times, but I will also want you to listen before we continue that now many people are starting to think that she not only was complicit in handing Maddie over to Stephan Sterns as a neglect charge, but that she was also either more involved than we think with the murder, or she helped him with the murder to create the alibi that day for herself, him create his alibi, and more than we think. So it's interesting how the buzz is going from people in Florida and what's happening here on YouTube. So pay attention to that.
Heard from her. Yeah, there's no update.
And I have to ask this, and I know I hate doing it, but is she the type that would run away? Has this happened in the past or anything? Has she ever threatened to run away?
Never. She's never ever mentioned anything like this before, and she's not the type to want to do this.
Is that a lie?
She did accidentally leave her phone on Monday, which is kind of normal for her. She's got ADHD and very.
All right, so victim blaming, first of all, and that makes no sense that she says she accidentally left her phone, and then she starts talking about her ADHD, and she starts going into possible autism, but then not, but then is, and then she never mentions that she needs her asthma inhaler at all. So this is really out of the norm. And Crystal, the App Store is $30. If you buy the actual deck, it costs $79.99. So it's better to buy the app if you want to save some money. All right. So listen to this, and I'm going to call out what DD doesn't call out, and he's going to call out what I don't call out. It's like a beautiful YouTube marriage.
Very forgetful. So she left her phone at home, so there's no way to trace her. They tried tracing her school laptop, but that's off, so it's not pinging to anything.
Jenn, what is your fear? I know you mentioned she's on games and stuff. Do you think she could have like met somebody and tried to meet up with them?
She's open to us. She's open with us about, if she's got a crush with anyone, and she told us she had a crush on someone at school.
I don't think
and
so.
I looked at their messages. Nothing was weird. I looked at all of her messages, all of her deleted messages. Nothing seemed weird. It didn't seem like she was talking to anyone.
Okay, so she's lying right there, folks. There's no way that she's looking at Maddie's phone and seeing all of her messages and her deleted messages, because I would beg to differ that she doesn't have something on her phone between her and Stephan that's telling that they're going to find. And if she's smart enough to go through the messages and the deleted messages, she's smart enough to know more than she's saying she does. Oh, this is just a mess here, folks. Thank you, Jenn X71. She just lied right to us right then and there. I hope you saw that.
So I don't feel like that's the case. I feel like she may have been taken, because this is not like her at all to just disappear and not tell us, not let us know where she's going or who she's with.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What are you getting from law enforcement? I mean, are they actively searching for her? I mean, what happens now? I mean, especially that she doesn't have her phone with her.
So as far as I know, they're conducting a search around the school. Behind the school, there's a Shingle Creek. There's a wooded path area that you could walk. It's a hiking path. They are going back there with their canine dogs. They've taken a piece of her.
Okay, also, which one is it, folks? And we're still gonna get into that, because the way she's talking about Maddie so nonchalantly and them looking for a body, because that's what she's talking about, is canines looking for a body right now. She's also, which one is it, Jenn? You either looked at Maddie's text messages and she's really open with you about who she likes and her crush, or you're just dumb and you're an evil potato that gets high all day and doesn't know anything. Which one is it? Maddie's text, you say weird, but not her text with Stephan Sterns. Exactly. So in this statement, she says they're really open with each other. She knows about it. She talks to her. Which one is it, Jenn? Does she talk to you and tell you everything that's going on with her? Or do you not know anything and you're being neglectful? Please tell me, because right here is a huge lie.
Clothing to see if they can trace her scent.
Her body.
They're also taking their own vehicles. I'm not sure what type of vehicles, but they're going into the woods to search for her. But I don't feel like that's going to find anything right now. We've had people all day on that trail sending us photos to see if anything there looks familiar, and like her personal belongings, and nothing is hers.
All done.
So I'm not sure where to go from here. I'm just contacting the news to get the word out, to get some help, because I'm desperate. I'm a wreck right now.
Jenn just said she's desperate and a wreck, and I believe her. She also said she's calling news stations to get the word out and I believe that too. But what word is she getting out exactly? As I said before, innocent parents of missing children try to communicate a lot of things when they have the opportunity to get on the news. And I've written about some of them over in the DD forum. I call it my missing child presser interview checklist because these are the things that parents of missing children naturally do without any prompting or prep work. For example, they speak about their child in the present tense. And that's because deep down, it is hard for a parent to accept that their child might be dead. They don't think rationally in terms of statistics. Second, we can expect them, if they get on the news or get an interview, to be cooperative. In other words, they answer the questions they're asked, unlike what Jenn did here. When the interviewer asked her that first question, tell us what's going on with Maddie, Jenn didn't answer that question. She didn't say Maddie's been missing for a week. She went into her scripted narrative that we've seen her go into every single time she's been interviewed.
By the way, she wasn't missing for a week, but I want you to, that brings a point to say she had only been missing for, and I'm not only, I shouldn't even have used that word, but it wasn't a week. It was maybe 2 days. If it was 3, it was the next day they found her. And there was already a finality in her tone to, it's done, we're done, I did what I can. I reached out to the news. What is the news going to do except for get the word out that your daughter's missing and they're still again looking for a body? I don't understand. She rules out that she doesn't have any friends. She rules out that she doesn't know how to get home. She rules out that that she doesn't have her phone and she's forgetful, but it happens many times. If you listen to all the things she rules out, then what's left? And what is she even on that press release or it's not a presser, but what is she even on the interview for, folks? It doesn't make any sense.
Whether it was in my video, does she have guilty knowledge? Or in my video, how to think like a cop. Third, actual parents of missing children are inconclusive. In other words, they can't say for sure whether or not their kid didn't talk to their friends or didn't meet anyone online or left their phone at home by accident because they simply don't know. All they know is their kid is missing. But we see Jenn violate this rule all the time. She can confidently say that Madeline has not spoken to her friends or that she left her cell phone at home by accident. How did she know that Madeline didn't leave it there on purpose because she wanted to run away? Fourth, parents of missing children address any potential kidnappers through the camera. And that's because they don't know what happened to their kid. Kidnapping is still a possibility, and they don't know if that kidnapper is watching the news. They also address the child through the camera for the same reason. They don't know if the kid's watching. So you'll typically see them say something like, Madeline, if you're watching, mommy and daddy are looking for you. Hang tight. If you're out there, you can get to a phone, call 911. Bear in mind, none of these things are necessarily rational things to do. They're just things that parents do because they're desperate for.
Right. And we're going to get to that, Donna. No, unfortunately, arrests don't happen that quickly. And many instances, even if she was arrested, it could take up to 5 years to get to trial. We just hit 333, folks. So angel number, Maddie's saying, be patient, hang in there, and say a prayer for justice to happen and be served correctly. It's not unusual for arrest to not have been made in these circumstances. So Dee Dee's correct. Missing child presser interview checklist. Remember this for the next 2 interviews that I'm going to show you. Present tense, cooperative, inclusive, addresses a kidnapper or somebody that took them, addresses the child, and asks for help. Jenn Soto did none of those. All right.
Any potential lead. Sixth, we can expect actual parents of missing children to ask for help. It's typically the first thing they do in the interview because it's their entire reason for going on TV. When a parent doesn't ask for help, we have to wonder, why are they doing the interview? Are they actually trying to find their kid?
That's
or is it some sort of image management game they're doing? And finally, we can expect them to do some sort of call to action, like hold up a picture of their kid and say, if you see Madeline, call 911. So far in this interview, Jenn hasn't done any of these things. Her priority is herself. I'm a wreck. I'm desperate. As well.
And I actually pulled that card out because that's most of what she's saying. And that's most of what Stephan Sterns is saying. Now, the court date's July 16th, but I haven't seen anything that it's pushed back to August. Although I can imagine it's going to be pushed back to August of 2025. I'm not going to be really surprised. Now, her and Stephan Sterns, Jennifer Soto and Stephan Sterns both used I almost the whole time. They weren't talking about Maddie at all. And in that, honest people often use the word I, reflecting self-awareness and ownership of their words. A missing I in a statement, particularly when it's absent, makes the sentence grammatically awkward, might indicate deception. Also, what deception detective said is when they're talking about themselves the whole time, they're trying to keep away from the subject of what Madeline Soto, what happened to her. They're trying to deflect everything, even if it's onto themselves.
Well as her alibi. The word she's getting out is more akin to other suspicious parents we've analyzed on the channel, like the Wells, the McCanns, and the Ramseys, rather than innocent ones like Landon Bullard or Seth Rogers. And I'll link a video about one of them at the end of this video so you can watch it next and spot the difference for yourself because it's very stark.
They're going into the woods to
Oh,
search for
wow.
her.
By the way, folks, when she said earlier that Madeline had never talked about running away, that was a lie because they later go into talking about her saying she wanted to go into the woods. I don't know if that was a friend that said that or the grandma that said that, but I'm sure that Maddie said that to her mom many times. She's manipulative, Jenn Soto, and she lies and she does what she gets what she wants from her mom, her dad, and even I dare to say Stephan. Granny to 13 gifted 10 freaking memberships. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. Paul, I hope you get a membership. Paul Eckers says, sad everyone failed that girl, even the cops, by posting pics of her body. We need to be sure we don't fail her now. We need to keep up the pressure on the DA to get charges on Jenn. And that's why we're here. Also, there's a wave coming.
But I don't feel like that's going to find anything right now. We've had people all day on that trail sending us photos to see if anything there looks familiar and like her personal belongings, and nothing is hers. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure where to go from here. I'm just contacting the news to get the word out, to get some help because I'm desperate. I'm wrecked right now.
So you think that she's been taken?
I also wanted to point out, folks, that you normally don't have to tell somebody when you're doing an interview that you're desperate and a wreck. You don't call that out. They just see that you're desperate and they see that you're in a wreck. So you don't say it. You just are it. Does that make sense? I don't need to tell you. I'm telling you about this case right now and I'm really passionate about it and tell you what I'm talking about. I'm just doing what I'm talking about. And she's just saying that to tell you what she is. So you think that's what she's feeling or how she is, when really she's nervous and she's scared and she knows that they're going to find Maddie's body soon.
Against her will.
I do think so, yes.
As a mom, what's your mother's intuition telling you right now?
I'm trying to hope for the best, but I'm scared for her. I want her to be okay and I want her to be safe. I don't want her to come back harmed. I just want her back. Whatever that means, I just want her back.
Let's listen to that last part again.
I'm trying to hope for the best, but
wow.
I'm scared for her. I want her to be okay and I want her to be safe. I don't want her to come back harmed.
I don't want her to come back harmed. That's very different than saying, I don't want her to be harmed, or I want her back and I hope she's not harmed. When Jenn said, I don't want her to come back harmed, I think she actually meant that. And I think it slipped out because she was more focused on trying than her word selection. Because right after she said that, then she said, I just wanted to come back home. I think she caught herself. And paying attention to little things like that illustrates the power of leakage. If you don't know what leakage is, I'll read you the card from the deception deck, my 52 favorite rules for spotting lies and manipulation, and it is now available in the App Store and Google Play Store. Liars can unintentionally reveal the truth through their choice of words, as it's challenging to suppress real memories while telling falsehoods. If someone repeatedly uses an unusual phrase or word, it might be a clue worth investigating. As I always say when it comes to leakage, one instance of it is not enough, but it can compel us to search further. And I'm pointing out this potential instance of leakage because the last time I highlighted leakage from Jenn, it was confirmed in the autopsy report. And maybe this time it will be confirmed by her getting arrested and convicted for being, at the very least.
And we hope so. And I'm going to go back. So I didn't want to interrupt him. I want you to hear what he thinks she should be charged for at the very least. And this narrative is starting to play across the background of the people in Florida and YouTube. So I wonder if this is what's happening behind the scenes.
their choice of words, as it's challenging to suppress real memories while telling falsehoods. If someone repeatedly uses an unusual phrase or word, it might be a clue worth investigating. As I always say when it comes to leakage, one instance of it is not enough, but it can compel us to search further. And I'm pointing out this potential instance of leakage because the last time I highlighted leakage from Jenn, it was confirmed in the autopsy report. And maybe this time it will be confirmed by her getting arrested and convicted for being at the very least an accessory after the fact.
An
I'm
accessory after
scared
the
for her.
fact.
I want her to be okay and I want her to be safe. I don't want her to come back harmed. I just want her back. Whatever that means, I just want her back.
Whatever that means, you already know, lady.
Are you getting any updates from law enforcement? I mean, yes, they're searching that small area, but have they gotten any hits on any scent or anything like that?
They haven't let me know anything. They haven't updated me since I spoke to them this morning. I've contacted them to get some information or to give them some leads, but I've heard nothing back.
Oh, she was going to give them some leads. That's interesting. She was going to give them some leads. I'm sure why they weren't talking to her is because they didn't want to give any information or put anything out there on accident to let those two dispose of things or get rid of evidence or get their story together. So they didn't want to talk to them because I think they were already looking at them. When you look at these interviews and you hear the things they talked about, just terrible. Lots of lies, lots of trying to manipulate, but red flags went up for the officers right away. Mr. Strategic said when a suspect does what Stephan Sterns did with all of his excuses, right then and there, they start to look at you as a suspect. So happy Saturday. We have 401 people in chat. Please hit that like button, folks, so we can get into the algorithm and get more people in here. We have 409 now. So hit the like button and look at Muppet Jenn. Let's get her arrested, folks. She's a liar and she keeps lying in front of us to our faces, and it's not acceptable.
And Jenn, there's no way that she just being, a teenager was like, maybe had a fight with you or an argument with you and was like, you know what, I'm going to go hang out at so-and-so's house and teach her a lesson. Could that be a scenario?
I don't believe so. We actually haven't gotten into a fight in like a few weeks or arguments or anything like that. If anything, on Sunday, she celebrated her 13th birthday with my entire family and she had the best day. She was so happy. She showed us all her gifts.
No, she didn't.
She's just a happy girl, and she showed it on Sunday night when she went to bed.
Okay, folks. So if she's really trying to get her daughter to come back, she's lied through the whole interview. We now know that her daughter was not a happy girl. Now with all the interviews and the teacher, she slept a lot. She was tired in class. She told her friends she wanted to move out to the woods or move out to get her own home. She told people that Stephan Sterns bothered her and ate her food. She wasn't a happy girl, number one. And number two, Jenn absolutely didn't see her birthday gifts that she says she saw. Now we know that she didn't. And the only thing that she was supposed to give her apparently was money, and she didn't even get her what she wanted. So I guess Maddie was mad at her. Yeah, she didn't get, so she's lying through this whole interview. How is that going to bring Maddie back? For the naysayers about Jenn Soto, listen up.
And she was so happy. So, she had the best day.
No,
I just, there was no moment in that evening from when she got home from the party that she had her phone or had the laptop. She went straight to getting ready and went to bed. So I know she didn't have any conversations with anyone. She didn't make plans with anyone. I didn't see any of that.
But she's spent the whole Sunday celebrating her 13th birthday. Was her 13th birthday on that Sunday, or that was just like the time you guys were celebrating?
That was the time we were celebrating. Her birthday was on Thursday, the 22nd.
But that's just so heartbreaking to be celebrating her 13th birthday, and then the very next day, that's the last you've seen of her.
Yeah.
Uppercut.
Where do you go now? Are you going to go out there and search or look, or what is your?
When people think of murderous women, they often picture someone like Amanda Knox or Nicole Kessinger, a manipulative, calculating femme fatale. The reality is most violent criminals are low IQ, low impulse control, and low self-awareness. For the record, I don't think Nicole or Amanda are necessarily murderers, although I do think they could both be brought up on charges that they weren't, and that's a whole other rabbit hole if you want to watch.
And I do want to say that Jenn Soto wasn't low IQ. She didn't have a low IQ. That wasn't the case. And somebody brought up, and I've heard many times, that when you become a teacher or a substitute teacher, you have to go through some bit of a training, whether it's a couple hours to spot signs of abuse. She was a substitute teacher at Maddie's school, so she went through that. She wasn't dumb like you all think. She was very cunning and manipulative, and that's how she gained custody of Madeline Soto, folks. That's why Tyler didn't have her. Okay, in my opinion, allegedly is what I'm going to say. So yes, a mandatory reporter, Carly says, you're absolutely right. And what's up, crime crew, not low IQ, master manipulator. Even with all the drugs she was taking, that was just to block out what she was doing, her lies, and how crazy she actually was. And she did check herself into mental hospitals when she was overwhelmed, but by no means was she a low IQ. She knew exactly what she was doing. And this interview makes me mad when I know she's not arrested, but I know they're crossing their T's and dotting their I's. She's lying to all of us here, folks. We can see it.
Those series. In this case, Jenn has virtually no self-awareness. She's repeatedly shown such a disinterest in the search for Madeline that even the interviewer has to ask her, are you actually going to go search for your daughter? And if you've been paying attention throughout the interview, you can follow all these breadcrumbs of disinterest, like when she dismissed the photos that people were sending her from the trail, or how she referred to the police who were trying to track the laptop as they are tracking, rather than we are tracking, which is what most parents of a missing child would say, because they would see themselves as if they were in partnership with the police trying to find their kid. Plus other small details, like the fact that she said she emailed the school rather than frantically calling them, or that she went to the office she thought Madeline might have walked to rather than picking up the phone and calling to check if she's there. So what could explain Jenn's total disinterest?
Her total disinterest is she already knew what happened, and so there was no reason for her to go above and beyond. And I want you all to know, as a parent, every single one of us parents in here know that when you email a teacher, they don't check their email all the time, and more than likely they're not going to get back to you for at least 24 hours. She had been a parent for 13 years. She knew better than that. So when she lies and lies and lies and says she emailed, that's a red flag, because teachers don't like, they've got homework to grade, they've got things to do. They're not getting back to you by email to tell you where your daughter is. That should be a big flag. And thank you, Leosa, for the $4.99 super sticker. All support is appreciated here. Right there. There's so many of them. Let's keep them coming. The Deception Detective is catching them, and I'm catching more every time I watch it. Funny how she kept saying when it came in the story, Stephan gave her, but not the police tracking the laptop. Yeah, I'm not really exactly sure, but there's a lot of inconsistencies, and the more you watch it, the more you know. It's not even the nowadays part, meow, just period. Teachers take 24 hours to check their emails. Nowadays, they text you if you want urgency.
In the search for Madeline, the answer might once again be found in leakage. She's leaking a lack of curiosity about where Madeline could be. And the reason for that might just be as simple as, if you know where something is, you don't go look for it. And if you don't want it to be found, you don't help the people who are looking. Either way, whether she was relying on a fake story told to her by Stephan, or if she was involved in the murder and cover up herself, her words suggest that at the time of this interview, she did not consider Madeline lost. And the most damning example of this is coming up next. So listen closely.
But that's just so heartbreaking to be celebrating her 13th birthday, and then the very next day, that's gone. The last you've seen of her.
Yeah.
I mean, where do you go now? Are you going to go out there and search or look, or what is are you sticking by the phone? Are you what are you doing?
I'm staying at home, staying by the phone, hoping she just appears. I know my entire.
You know how we have to stay by the phone nowadays, right? Because that cord that's attached to the wall doesn't charge our phone if we need it to be. So we have to stay at home and stay by the phone. That's huge, everybody, for the naysayers. Let's listen to that again. I'm going to back it up one more time. This doesn't make any sense.
In the murder and cover up herself, her words suggest that at the time of this interview, she did not consider Madeline lost. And the most damning example of this is coming up next. So listen
That
closely.
too.
But that's just so heartbreaking to be celebrating her 13th birthday, and then the very next day,
She's
that's the
gone.
last you've seen of her.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, where do you go now? Are you going to go out there and search or look, or what is are you sticking by the phone? Are you what are you doing?
Yes.
I'm staying at home, staying by the phone, hoping she just appears. I know my entire family's out looking. They've all spread a bunch of flyers. I've had people contact me that they've gone to the international airport to spread flyers, to Amtrak, to Greyhound, just any way that if someone's taken her and they're trying to take her, just to show her face, just to make sure, she's not being taken against her will.
And you mentioned ADHD. Was there anything else maybe mentally going on, or that you knew of?
She does suffer from anxiety, and once upon a time she was diagnosed with autism.
Here it is
we
again.
had her
Evaluated.
what's the word?
Brained, maybe?
Reevaluated.
Okay.
We had her reevaluated a few months ago, actually, and they told us no, she didn't have autism, but she did have some autistic traits.
By the way, that's a minimizing word, and she's just trying to stick to script, folks. When you use the word actually, especially when you're trying to tell a story that has urgency, it's way off base for her to be saying that. So keep that in mind as she tells this story time and time again. Let me see what it says about actually, because this actually has that word in it. I wish I had actual in front of me. I have the new deck, but it doesn't have it. Anyway, actually is a minimizing word, and she's minimizing it after she just made it a point to push it to her audience that she's got ADHD, she's autistic, so that may be why she's missing and forgot her phone, victim blaming, etc., etc. And watch how quick her mood changes and her faces change. And she also goes in her head a lot to remember the story. She looks up a lot so she can remember what story she's supposed to be telling.
She did have ADHD, some autistic traits, but not autism. So I'm not sure where to leave with that, because one doctor said she did and one doctor saying she doesn't, and I don't know. She's just in the middle, I guess, because she does have some tendencies, but socially she's pretty great. So I'm not sure.
And with the video that you were able to see whenever your boyfriend dropped her off, where was that? Which video? Was that a surveillance camera?
It was a surveillance camera from the church, Peace Church, right next to Hunters Creek Middle School.
And do you have that video?
I don't have that. They didn't show me. They wouldn't show me. It was actually, my sister was the one at location, and they were letting her know what they.
I also like how they wouldn't show her, and the way she says they wouldn't show me is very defensive, in my opinion. The way she said it, like she was upset that they wouldn't show her. Yeah, they didn't want to show you evidence that you and your boyfriend that were not your boyfriend did. And your sister was out there looking and doing and calling. Absolutely insane. And yeah, she does have anxiety, but this is not from anxiety. This is from all the lies she's telling and trying to keep that story that her and Stephan put together and hold it together is what she's doing.
They saw on camera.
When you know where your daughter is, you don't look for her. When you know your daughter is dead, you don't seek help. When you know the search site is wrong, you don't expect results. When you know your daughter wasn't kidnapped, you don't go flyering at the airport. And when you know your daughter wasn't recorded by a security camera, you don't watch the tape. All of these are poker chips on my bet that Jenn Soto knew her daughter was dead at the time of this interview and every other interview she's done, including the body cam interview I've analyzed. When I press play, the interviewer is going to prompt Jenn to say all the things she should have been saying throughout this entire interview. And in my opinion, it's too little, too late. No matter what excuse Jenn eventually gives for providing false information to the police, the leakage we've seen in this video and all the others in the series suggests to me at least that she knew where Madeline was the entire time and that she knew Madeline was dead.
My sister was the one at location, and they were letting her know what they saw on camera.
Okay.
But they didn't show it to any of us.
Got it. Okay. Jenn, is there anything else that you'd like to add?
And I believe those are nervous and anxious tics. She keeps playing with her lips and making these doing these things. That's a behavior that you would do when you're anxious or nervous. But she's anxious or nervous for herself and Stephan for the story to fall apart. KKRR says, I would put money on it. Her family is semi-estranged, and it felt like she was worried they'd confirm she is a shitty parent. That's another thing. When she was in the office, that in the grandma's office, the reason she was correcting Stephan Sterns, in my opinion, is because she wanted to make sure her mom knew that she knew what she wore that day. She was the one that got her ready, etc., all the stuff. And you're absolutely right. You called that one. AstroTurf. I'm with DD. Yeah, DD, man. So many lies. Thank you, DD, for doing this other video. Let's get him to 50,000 likes. And let's get me to 50,000 subscribers, folks. Let's just go for 20,000 for now.
Please, if you have any information, contact me, contact law enforcement. Any information helps. Maddie, if you see this, please come home. Please be safe. I love you very much. If you have my Maddie, please just let her come home. We just want her.
All right, just keep in mind now she's pushing the narrative, so you can remember this for the next interviews and the next things we're going to play. She's pushing the narrative that somebody took Maddie. Okay, so she thinks that Maddie got dropped off, or she's pushing the narrative. I'm not saying she thinks it. She's pushing the narrative that Maddie got dropped off at the church and somebody took her, and that's why she's missing, and she doesn't want her to be hurt. She can go down for falsifying if they can prove her knowledge. Well, we're looking at these videos and we see her statement, and she's lied many times. So you can cross-reference the statement that's on paper with the interviews. They can prove that she's lying. Present tense, cooperative and conclusive. Address kidnapper, address child, ask for help, call to action. She did none of those things. All right, we got more.
Come home.
Compare Jenn to an innocent parent by watching the video on your screen now. If you want to continue this series, let's get this video to 50,000 views. You can also become a channel member and vote on who.
And you can and you should. And I'm not going to do the video he suggests because a lot of you feel torn about Seth Rogers at this point. So there's too many things going on with Seth that I don't want to use that as an interview. Had it been months ago, I would have used that narrative, but I'm not going to. I'm going to use a better narrative that you all know to be true. And remember what I just told you. The narrative that Jennifer Soto was using was that somebody took Maddie. Please bring her home. If you have her, bring her home unharmed. Well, guess what? Here's the narrative that actually happened. Somebody took Alexis Nungry's daughter. And this, in my opinion, is good versus evil mothers. And I want you to spot what the difference is. Not because of crying, not because of nervousness, not just, we're going to stop and we'll listen to the words that she's saying, and I'll assess the story for you, so to speak.
She was goofy. She always had her own little spunk. She never followed the crowd. She always stood up for what was right. It's hard. It's so hard.
All right, if you don't know, we're talking about Jocelyn Nungry, and the first thing that she starts off with as a mother is to tell you all of the good traits about her daughter and why she loves her, why she wants her back, and why she's potentially addressing the people that took her to let them know, please don't hurt her because she has all of these good qualities. That way you make them feel bad. So you're addressing a potential kidnapper so that they don't want to take her life. When you start saying, oh yeah, she's forgetful and she's got autism and she's this and she's that. Yeah, you're right, Jude. When you start saying negative instead of positive, it makes them want to further take the person's life. It's like, oh, well, this person's got all these problems. I don't want to deal with that. I'm just going to take their life. No, her daughter was not found. She was found, yes, but she was not alive. So same scenario as Jennifer Soto right now. All right. Difference between a grieving mother and a mother that's an evil mother. Evil versus good.
How have the past few days been for you as a mother?
It's like not real. Like I keep hearing everything and I keep keep hearing everybody tell me everything, and I hear it, and I hear it, and it's not registering. It doesn't register at all. It's just like I feel like I'm in an alternate universe where I'm just living this ongoing nightmare that just doesn't stop, and I don't think it'll really hit me until I have to see her.
And when was the last time you saw her and spoke to her?
Right before I went to bed Sunday night. I told her not to stay up late. She was going to come with me to work. And she said, okay, good night.
And, you know, what did you think when you learned, or how were you notified that she was found?
So you also want to, she said was because the details of the night before the daughter's death, and she said, how was she notified she was found? So that's what we're talking about. And also sometimes when you say was, and you're not using the present tense, it's because you were talking about yesterday. So you got to take it in context with that.
Our cat was going crazy at 3 in the morning, and she's usually with her. And I just thought that, you know, maybe she was still not giving her attention, and I didn't really think nothing of it. And I woke up at 6:30, normal, shower, went to their room. She shared the room with her brother to wake up her 5-year-old brother, get him dressed for daycare, and his phone was missing. I went to go look for her to get his phone. Looked on the couch, looked in her bed, her closet, her bathroom. Didn't see her. We walked around the complex. Didn't see her. Just walked around, quickly got in my car, and I pinged her phone, and it pinged right over there.
Okay, so that's what I was waiting for her to take action. She immediately got up. She immediately took action. She pinged the phone. She went over there. She didn't end up finding her body, but she called 911. Somebody else did find her body. Thank God that she didn't. So the way she's acting and the things she's saying, although it's not a story, if you're telling the truth, you don't have to remember anything at all. So when you're assessing stories versus the truth, and you're just trying to get the information out there as fast as you can and tell what happened and where you are, that's what she did. When assembling the credibility of a story, scrutinizing its continuity is crucial. Like movies with plot holes, liars will often fail to create flawless fabrications to identify potentially fabricated stories. Consider these points. Now, consider this already, what she's talking about. It's been flawless and flowing in the way she's telling the story. She got up, her daughter was gone. She talks about the 5-year-old. Everything is literally just flowing because it wasn't a story. It wasn't a narrative. Mothers will constantly look for their kids, even if they're adults and can't find them. The truth tells itself, and that's what I'm definitely getting to. So when you're hearing her, there's a reasonableness. You assess whether their actions described are plausible for a person in the given circumstances, which they are. She's not telling this interviewer, I'm broken up and I'm upset and I'm crying. She's talking about what happened, and there's a sense of urgency. So none of that. Her tone. Examine whether the tone of a story aligns with the nature of experience, such as describing serious incident like a mugging or a tussle. And then inconsistencies. Look for internal inconsistencies within a story. Are there only points where the narrative contradicts itself? No. So far, none of this. She's just telling you what happened. She's not trying to push a narrative. She's not talking bad about Jocelyn. Let's continue.
And I ran, and that's what I saw. Kate and officers, and I ran up to him, told him my daughter was missing. He wouldn't tell me anything. It wasn't until an hour later I got called to go down to his house to talk about the whereabouts. And that's when I was given the information. I found her that morning.
I'm so sorry. And
so this is when she found out, and she's doing an interview. They're right by 7-Eleven or in 7-Eleven. She gives the details of the night before. What my point is, good versus evil mother, and how to spot deceit and how to spot lies, manipulation. And I showed you back to back Jenn Soto versus Alexis Nungary, not following a script. So in this instance, when I use I for her, it's much different than when I use I for Jennifer Soto. When I used I, it was her lying. And this one says, when he used the word I, Honest people often use the word I, reflecting self-awareness and ownership of their words. A missing I in a statement, particularly when there's an absence, makes the sentence grammatically awkward. It might indicate deception. And then there's a example, but I'm not going to go there. I just want you to see what a grieving mother that's looking for her child or is telling you about what happened looks like.
You know, HPD has released photos of the possible suspects or person of interest. Do you recognize those two men?
No clue. I do know the apartment complex we live in is Latino based, and based off the picture, they look like Hispanics. They could have came from the skate park. They could have been from the complex, but I don't know who they are. And I just hope that they're found, because Jocelyn was a fighter. She fought hard, and she
Again, another positive thing about her daughter, not something negative about her saying, oh, she could have done more. Probably she's usually lazy most of the time. I bet she got herself killed. Yes, no pronouns or wrong pronouns. And Jennifer Soto and Stephan Sterns talked in bullet points. Good call, Jude. Good call. When you're talking in bullet points, you're telling a story. When I talk to you all, when I'm telling my story about a true crime account, I talk in bullet points and I say, this is what happened, this is what happened, this is what happened. And I give you the timeline so I can remember what the story is. You're absolutely right. And you nailed that one. Thank you. I love the crime crew. Thank you.
She needs justice. Yeah, she didn't deserve this. But, she needs to be rested at peace.
And those two men are out there right now. What would you want them to know?
Yep.
Just took away my firstborn. I was a teen mom. She's who helped me grow, mature. She's turning into such a beautiful, beautiful young lady.
So again, she's complimenting, she's talking about Jocelyn Nungry, which we just hit 555, angel number, prayer for Jocelyn. I know that she still is in the presence of her mother. We saw the big funeral that she had, and I know a lot of people showed up for her. That's an example, even though she was a teenage mother, that's an example of a good mother. There was no neglect on her part. Jocelyn simply, as we all did, we talked about it before. Yeah, she loved her daughter, as we all did at a certain age. We snuck out of our window. We went and got some Mad Dog 2020 or some Boons or some candy or whatever we did. But that's what Jocelyn did. And this is helping us to open our lines of communication with our children. When we see things like this, we want to make sure we tell them, please don't leave without talking to me. I will take you out. Here's a cash app. Here's some money. Please. She loves her daughter, and it's all positive. She's not victim blaming. She's not looking up to the sky to think about what the story is. None of that. Pure opposite of the interview we just showed. And then I'm going to get to the next one, which you're going to learn more. And it's really a crazy case, folks. So Jill, I think you said Jill, you learn something every time. Thank you. I'm glad you do. And you're going to learn a lot more. Hopefully you guys can upgrade your membership to the Secret Crime Crew, which it's not that much more, but it's very worth it. And we're going to have a lot of behind the scenes where you can interact with me directly and have your input and a lot of things.
I remember I've gone through a lot these past few months with her mental health, and I was really looking forward to seeing how she was going to be. They took every opportunity away from me, from our family.
So
again, she's reminiscing, talking about her daughter, saying that she's not going to grow up to be able to have a life or be married, have kids. And I'm the only one that said that about Maddie. I'm not saying I'm the only one. I'm saying I'm the one saying that about Maddie. She doesn't get to grow up. She doesn't get to make her mistakes. She doesn't get to do any of that. But where is Jenn Soto to say that at her funeral or at her vigil or at the memorial? Where is she? Yes, say a prayer for Alexis Nungry, and the mother of Jocelyn Nungry. Lynette is a new member. Thank you for becoming a new member. You won't be you won't be disappointed. She had Slurpee or soda. Is that what she's saying? Let's listen.
Oh, sorry.
I hope they come forward. And
Yeah, exactly.
I hope the universe gets them what they deserve.
And I know she
also talks about the universe, so we can see that she has some spirituality to her. And as the interviews progress, she starts talking about change and what she'd like to change so that this doesn't happen to other children. This is a mom that we should see. And I know somebody's going to go in my comments and say, everybody grieves differently. They're not in a canned process. But Jenn wasn't even grieving yet. She was trying to find her daughter that was gone for, I think it was day 2 on that interview. So everybody grieves differently. You're right. But the difference between this and the difference between that, why would you lie when you're trying to get your daughter back? I just showed you like 7 big lies that she told in the middle of an investigation of trying to find Madeline Soto.
She was on the phone with her boyfriend when she was up here at the 7-Eleven. Yeah. Have you been able to talk to him or know what they talked about?
No clue. I don't have his phone number. His phone number was in her phone, and it's still with them and evidence. And I don't know much. I just know what the sergeant has been telling me. I have her Instagram logged in on my account, and tried reaching out. I'm gonna try to reach out again just to hear from him. What did he hear? You know, hearing that he heard her talking to 2 adults and wasn't said what was said, but I need to know what was said. I need to know what he heard, because reading the message threads that he left her when she wasn't responding, it made me feel like he had a gut feeling something was wrong. So.
Yeah. And did she tell him she was meeting these people, or that was he familiar with them?
No. She said she was just walking around different stores. I don't know what possessed her to walk around late at night in this area of all places. I've always told her to never leave the house.
All right, so we'll just listen to a couple more minutes. Her mom did all the right things. Jenn Soto did not go to Maddie's funeral. Yeah, seriously. Again, I wanted to show you what a good mom looks like and what a bad mom looks like. First, we started with what a bad mom looks like and what a mother that's covering something up looks like versus a mother that is completely out in the open, leaves it to the universe, so to speak, and tells everything she knows so that we can catch the daughters murder Jocelyn and Ungri. And they did. They're arrested now. Rosa says, common sense, there's a stark comparison with the 2 mothers. Anyone can see that Jenn was not a good mother. Well, the whole episode is to spot a good mother versus a bad mother. And I'm glad that it's common sense. So it gives everyone a clear idea. I'm a visual person. So visually, I like to visually see what a good mother looks like and what a bad mother looks like. I have art on me. I have the devil. I have the angel and the devil. There's the devil on one side and an angel on the other. So there you go. Stark comparison right here on my shoulders. All right. I'm visual.
Never leave unattended. Always be safe. There's people around here that are crazy. I just don't think she ever thought it would face her.
Alexis, usted quiere justicia por su hijo. Quiere justicia para su niño. You want justice for your daughter.
I want justice for everything. I want them to face everything they put her through and more and worse. I want.
And don't forget, we are covering this case, so you're going to see more on my channel. I'm not just showing some random person that I messaged. We're in depth already in this case. Lynette says, I love it. We hit 555 again. So say a prayer, throw out some good vibes, and then we're going to listen to an unbelievable liar, which I'd love to cover the case. But I also want to tell you that in this next segment, it took 5 years to get this chick, Megan Boswell, to court, to trial. Not to court, to trial. It took 5 years. So while we're sitting there, 555 chat, while we're sitting there wondering why Jenn's not arrested, why it's taking so long, or messaging me and telling me, see, she's not going to get arrested. She would already be in jail. Trial's coming up. She didn't do anything. You'll see. That's not the truth. It takes a while for a case of this magnitude, but 5 years is what happens. It's how it breaks down. It's what the justice system does sometimes. Chris Watts, on the other hand, didn't do that because he just went right through and told whatever he wanted to, and now we're all upset about it. So do we want to know the whole truth, or do we want to know part of the truth? We want to know the whole truth.
I want karma to hit them. I'm like angry that they took advantage of her. She's so young. She's 12. I want justice. I want them to come forward. I want whoever has seen them, please. He took my baby away. Took her away. Now I get to.
Yeah, she's grieving right now. And Jude, hey, Jude, you say, what else could it be unless well, we talked about that before. Possible strangulation. And I don't think Stephan Sterns had to drug Jenn Soto, just saying. She did it to herself. So there's that. And yeah, Frank Reeves says, hi, Jay. I was wondering what that was drew toward the true crime and all entails. I was wondering what it was that drew you toward true crime and all it entails. What drew me towards true crime is that my mom watched it. So my mom watched it as I grew up. We were in Los Angeles when was the Night Stalker, in the 80s. And I remember having to lock our windows on a hot summer night. And it was Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker. So my mom always watched the news, and I've been studying it since then. Then I picked up a Jeffrey Dahmer book, etc., etc. Thank you, Jude.
Let her brother know his sister and they're coming home.
What they mentioned about the case? Have they called you with any news?
Just with what they give me the information that's right before giving to the news. So they'll tell me and let me know it's going to be aired. Like, all I know is the surveillance pictures that I saw. And just the basics of that.
All right, we're going to stop on that. We don't need to see anymore. We can see the stark comparison between the two. And then I'm going to go back to another Jenn Soto. But this one is pretty bad because it, well, first of all, she's at trial right now. Trial's happening, and it took 5 years. And if I covered this case, it would actually be a really good case to cover because they're going through trial. But it flip-flops. And we're going to show you what another evil mom looks like. And if you know the story, well, guess what? You know it. And it's pretty cool that you know it because it's a crazy case. And this is another Jenn Soto, but much younger and much more blatant. So this is Megan Boswell, and her daughter was she caused the death of her daughter, and then it's kind of like a Casey Anthony thing. Let me put it up. I don't know if you know, but we're comparing the two. Listen to this mother's interview. Does anyone know who Megan Boswell is? As I play this, I'll put something up if you don't. Listen to her, and we'll compare to Jennifer Soto and Alexis Nungri.
This must be hard. Why don't you tell me a little bit more about her? Do you have any pictures of her? Have you been looking?
Not on me, no.
Not on you? Have you been looking at
Nope.
photos and stuff of her while you're? How are you coping?
Again, Jennifer Soto. She couldn't find a picture. She was scrambling. Don't know why you don't have a picture of your daughter. Very weird. You forgot about her. Well, guess what? It's been 5 years since she just went to trial. Anne Marie B. just gifted 5 guilty of crime memberships, folks. So if you didn't have a guilty of crime membership, now you will. And you could be in on all but the behind the scenes stuff. Paul says, how do you know if Jenn will get kicked out of the apartment complex? I'm sure the neighbors don't want her there. Oh, we don't know about that. They own it. Her dad owns the complex, or owns, not the complex, the actual condo. So they'll probably sell it. I don't know what they're doing with it right now, but she's not going to get kicked out. All right. So you can't stand Megan Boswell. Well, this is why. She's on trial for the death of her daughter right now. Let's go. This is before.
With all of it?
I just want her back.
I just want her back.
Tell her anything now. What would you say to her?
Another Jennifer Soto statement. I just want her back.
I love her and I miss her, and I'll be with her as soon as I can get to her and like I can.
And I know all of this is very hard. Can you tell me like how you're feeling?
I just want her back. That's all I want.
True.
Are you feeling worried or anything along those lines?
Yeah.
Can you tell me about that at all?
Well, the reason I didn't report it or anything is because I knew the person who had her, and I didn't.
All right, folks. So she didn't report it or anything, and the reporter's having to ask her how she feels, if she's feeling worried or anything, because it's not showing that she's feeling worried. She just got some crocodile tears. So, all right, I want you to listen because this is one of the most evil mothers that I know.
I want them to run away with her. And as soon as they thought anything was going on, they just kind of vanished. So I'm just worried about, like where they're at, what they're doing with her at this point in time.
So you do know who has her? You do. Can you tell us who that is, or you don't?
I can't release anything further about that. I'm sure they will at the press conference, but further than that, I can't say anything.
And so you do know who has her. Are you worried about her safety?
Well, now I am, because they won't answer phone calls. They've just kind of.
They won't answer phone calls. Whoever has her daughter, folks, she just vanished like a UFO. And yeah, maybe Casey can be a pen pal with Jenn Soto and Megan Boswell at this point. And probably we can add Lori Vallow to that list, because Lori Vallow's kids just vanished as well. Not only lack of emotion, she just listen to this. If you haven't heard this before, this is an evil mother.
Disappeared.
She disappeared.
What is it like to? I'm assuming that you trusted this person. How has this trust been broken? What's been going on with that?
It has definitely been broken after this.
As she smiles.
Have you spoken to her father at all during this process? Are you having any support from him or from your family?
Yeah, my grandma's very supportive. She always is.
That's good. But you haven't spoken to him at all?
Mm-mm.
When was the last time you saw her?
In December.
And what was that last day like? Was it a good day? I think it was around Christmas, right? Can you tell me about that?
It was a good day. She had a little pink bow in her hair and a little Puma tracksuit on. It was hot pink.
And what, like, I know that you're hoping that she'll be returning shortly. Is there anything that you'd like to say to the person or people that have her that you think they should hear from you?
All right, folks. So you're a mother, and you're doing a press, she's not even doing a press. She's just doing an interview on the news, which is better than no traction, which a lot of mothers get. Okay. So yeah, difference in night and day. She's got her chance at an interview on TV, and she won't tell them who took her daughter. Who does that? That she just disappeared. She's also smiling. I don't know about this case. Well, we can do it. It does right now. It's just we're showing you mothers that are good versus evil, and this is another evil mother, folks. So, yeah, her name's Megan Boswell. You can look her up after. Insane. You have everyone's attention, but you're not going to tell where or who took your daughter. She's now on trial for the murder of her daughter.
Should just bring her back. They always know like what's going on, and they need to bring her back home.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And you said that you trusted this person. So when did you realize that trust might have been broken?
Well, when they just kind of took off and wouldn't answer anybody.
Around when was that?
Whenever this whole thing started.
Okay.
Megan goes on to describe.
Yeah, it was 10 to life showing that, because it was much better. Whenever it happened, she didn't even give a time frame, folks. She said whenever it happened. Yeah, Casey Anthony vibes. And I'm sorry, I missed that. Yeah, this mom makes a heartfelt, tearful, begging plea for a child's return. Will we see that? Who? No. This one? No, never. You don't see that at all. Let's listen to this for just a second so you can know what this case is about.
That she actually knows the person that has Evelyn, and that she trusted that person, leading all of us who were following this case to believe that it was the babysitter, which is, again, extremely similar to when Casey Anthony tried to pin the blame on Kaylee Anthony.
So she's trying to lead us all over the place and say she's not going to say anything. She doesn't want to talk about who. She's not telling the time frame. And then it changes into her mother that took her. We're going to listen for a few minutes, and then I've got a good I've got a good clip for you about when Jenn Soto might be arrested.
Being taken by a babysitter. It's almost like Megan literally ripped a page out of the Casey Anthony handbook, which she shouldn't have done because she should know that Casey Anthony is literally the most hated woman in America, and 99.9% of the population thinks she's guilty and was wrongly exonerated. But I could go on forever with that, guys. I hate Casey Anthony with a passion, but we will save that for another video.
So right now we're in 2024, and she's been awaiting trial for 5 years. So that means this happened in 2019, and she flip-flopped. She was in media. She had the media attention. She said it was the babysitter. Then she said it was her mom. And then she ended up getting arrested because, they have the body and they found the little baby, and we'll do a story. But evil mothers versus good mothers. I just want you, there's one little quick interview so you can see even the boyfriend is a little bit shady. He starts plugging his company. All right, hold on real quick, and then we'll move on. I want you guys to see the difference, the stark difference, and then we'll get to the clip of why it's taken so long.
He briefly dated Evelyn's mother, Megan Boswell.
She applied for a job at my restaurant, Undertee's Chicken Shack, and it wasn't like a relationship. It was an on and off going, type deal. It wasn't like an all-out, relationship.
He says he's known Megan Boswell for about 2 months and never saw baby Evelyn.
All I've seen is pictures of her. I have no relationship with that child whatsoever.
He says he's received threats.
He totally distanced himself from that little girl. And if he hasn't seen her in 2 months and she's been dating, where has she been? This is another Casey Anthony. Megan Boswell. She's starting trial, or it's already started. Go check it out, folks. If I have time to cover it, I will, but it's absolutely going to break Florida's system if she doesn't get convicted. So let's hope she does.
Threats over the internet, causing him to shut down his restaurant's Facebook page.
To my knowledge, the entire time that I've known Maggie, I've never seen the baby, of course, but as well as the baby has been with the father, back from military leave. And that is all that I've known about the child.
He wants the focus to be on finding the child and not on him and his business.
There's been a bunch of stuff said about, my restaurant, Undertee's Chicken Shack, things negative towards, to try to, stir away the main key factor of us just trying to operate.
That very same day, we have a third interview from Tommy Boswell, Megan's dad and Evelyn's grandfather, who initially reported her as missing. In this interview,
I also have another piece of it. Because I want you guys to. This is crazy. And look at the baby. Hold on. I want to show you the baby. Just so you can. Where'd it go? I'm sorry. I lost it. But Megan Boswell, folks, if you guys are interested in that, let me know. Here is the next interview. And it's not very long, where she now says that it's her mom that did this. So do you think it's going to be another Casey Anthony situation where the jury gets confused? Jay, was the boyfriend involved in the murder? It hasn't happened. The trial hasn't happened yet. And no, he's not involved. She's the only one that's been charged. I believe so. I'd have to do more research, but she's on trial right now. It sounds like you guys want me to cover this case. All right, let's keep going. Evil versus good mothers. We got Jenn, the potato Soto, and then we have Alexis Nungary. What beautiful mom, beautiful daughter Jocelyn, and then you've got this evil witch Megan Boswell. And when I say evil, she's evil. She doesn't even hide being evil, folks.
Camper, and if they don't go tonight, I'm gonna go find her myself. Because I've told them and they're not really taking it seriously. And if they don't go tonight, I will go myself and go get her. My mom, you can ask her, is a very vindictive, manipulating person. And
Yes.
she basically threatened me the whole time that she was gone.
Do you know who has ever?
As she smiles, folks, she's smiling right now as she's saying this and blaming it on her mom. So first she blamed it on the sitter, then she blames it on her mom. Now she's in jail. So we're going to listen for another few minutes so you can compare to evil mothers and good mothers, and then see where you think Jenn falls and see if you can see the manipulation that Jenn's using.
Evelyn right now?
She dropped her off somewhere in Mendota at a silver camper. But my mom would always say the person, not like people, plural.
So there is a person that has her in Mendota.
They're not taking me seriously. TBI isn't, because I've not fully told them. I've been like, hey, like my mom camped out at Mendota. You want to go check them out? But I've never been like specifically, hey, she's not your silver camper. Because my mom did threaten me, like, you know, if I told anybody. I'm not going to get into that, but she did.
So your mom has had Evelyn the whole time? Or the whole time?
Or the person that is in Mendota has had her the whole time.
Tell me why you let your mom take care of her. Did she take her from you that night? And
well, she was just supposed to babysit her because I was going to work.
555.
When did you know that something?
Can you guys see it in her eyes? Look at that look in her eyes, the darkness, the blackness. Let me know if you want me to cover the Megan Boswell case. If anybody's interested, I can certainly do that. Cops arrested her for false accusation for this, what she's saying. Yeah, this is part of it. I mean, it's all about her. There you go. There's so many things. She's just evil. Hey, Jude, did my best friend at 20 years retired now kills soul. Short for because yeah, same. Yeah, bunch of. Thank you. She's just evil. All right, got another minute or so, and then we're going to talk about how the Casey Anthony case is similar to the Madeline Soto case, and what the judge thinks, and why we're taking so damn long. It's really not that long, folks. All right.
Thing was wrong.
Well, whenever like she picked me up Wednesday, and I told her like, hey, they're doing a press release about the Ambler thing, and then she freaked out, and that's why they couldn't find her. Like nobody talked to her for days until they arrested her. She just kind of poof, gone. But she kept trying to take me to Mendota, and I kept asking. I was like, oh, are you taking me to Evelyn? And she would never tell me yes or no. And I was like, well, if you're not, I'm just calling my police station, come and get me. Like I'm not playing these games with you.
And so tell me the day that you dropped her off with your mom to let her babysit.
All right, so here's a different story she's telling. I'm going to tell you this real quick and then let her say that, and then we'll get to the next thing. She assessing stories, and that's what happened here. The cops saw too many red flags. She wasn't even talking about what happened. She kept minimizing her story, and she wouldn't tell who it was, which makes no sense at all. So if you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything at all. When assessing the credibility of a story, scrutinizing its continuity is crucial. Like the movies, with plot holes, liars often fail. I think we talked about this earlier. So her story it lacks credibility, and she keeps changing it. And the police finally got tired of this. There was nothing reasonable about her story. Her tone was like she was laughing and smiling, and it was inconsistent. And she contradicted herself the entire time. So let's go. And Adam says, who's this? It's Megan Boswell, an evil mother. We're going to get back to Jenn Soto in a second.
Was there anything off about your mom that day? Did you have any suspicion that she was going to take your child?
No.
Was there a reason
she's
that
great.
That you didn't make the call and it was your dad?
Because mom kept threatening me if I made.
All right, folks, so there's another one. There's another one that didn't make the call. Not only does she look absolutely evil, but she didn't call 911. Jennifer Soto didn't call 911. The mom or the grandma and the sister called 911. Here you go. It happens time and time again.
The call.
On February 25th, 2020, Megan messages that same news station on Facebook in which she now claims that she is pregnant. And that's the reason that she cannot do a polygraph test to the sheriff's office policy.
All right, so that's it about Megan Boswell. We're done with that. We're going to get into the portion of Casey Anthony, similar to Madeline Soto, according to Judge Perry. And we'll kind of talk amongst ourselves why it's taking so long. And it's actually really not that long, folks. So we have police off the cuff that does an amazing job. We're going to listen to this for like 5 minutes. Talk about Judge Perry, Casey Anthony. It all ties everything in. Very similar cases. These people that think they're doing a good job of making up stories, we've already seen it all. When you study true crime or you're a lawyer or a judge, you have seen it all.
Jeff, well, I have no doubt there's more victims. I'm not saying more victims of a homicide, but I definitely think that he has SA victims all over this country. And think of his personality. Think of where he worked for a while. Disney World. Was that accidental? Or was that because he wanted to be around children more often. Is that what that was all about? He wanted to be around children, so he worked at a place where there were tons of children.
Yeah.
And one of the things we've also found out now is that this had been going on. Madeline was 13 years old, just turned 13. This had been going on since she was 11 years old. And how did the police find that out?
So we're correcting that. And this wasn't that long ago. I'm not sure why he said that, but it was actually 8 years old. So this had been happening for 5 years with Stephan Sterns and Madeline Soto and the essay part. So now we're thinking things are starting to shift, and we're thinking not only is Jenn complicit in handing her daughter over to Stephan Sterns and letting him assault her, but also possibly an accomplice in the actual taking of her life. 555 again, you know what to do.
Well, they looked in his phone, and it went back. It went back to when Madeline was 11 years old, I believe in 2022, possibly 2021. Donna Roca, thank you for the $3 super sticker. Much appreciated. I want to play a little bit of this, guys, and I want everyone to always listen carefully to this stuff because there's so many good lessons in this.
Death of 13-year-old Madeline Soto is sitting in jail but has not been charged with her murder. Experts say investigators are building their case.
They have
Okay, so he didn't see this in the beginning, but I want you to hear this because it's important when they talk about the similarities to the Casey Anthony case and what Judge Perry thinks and why it's taking so long. And you can see it took a long time, even though they had Stephan Sterns at the at the scene of the crime. It took them a month later to charge him.
A very good, strong circumstantial case.
We're walking you through what's next in the investigation.
They don't want
It has now been exactly a
circumstantial.
week since Madeline Soto disappeared. Her body was discovered last Friday in a wooded area in St. Cloud.
All right, so remember, it's been a week. They're going on here. It took them, what did it take them? Over a month to get, they did the SA charges, and then it took an additional month. Jennifer Soto, from what I'm hearing, they don't want circumstantial evidence. They want to lock it in the bag. And I'm hearing that it's bigger than we think. It's not just I would have been happy with just neglect, but I don't think it's going to be that.
Good evening. I'm Greg Wormuth.
And I'm Darlene Jones. The case gripped our community here. Her mother's boyfriend is in the Osceola County Jail right now on charges unrelated to her death. And he's still not talking about little Madeline's disappearance. Channel 9's Daryl Matthews is live outside of the Osceola County Jail tonight. And Daryl, you spoke with former Chief Judge Belvin Perry about this case. And he says it is reminding him of the Casey Anthony case.
Yeah, Darlene, a lot of similarities. One, the prime suspect being close to the victim. Two, the victim being a child. And also what the prime suspect is telling law enforcement leading up to the discovery of the body.
Casey saying that the babysitter had her. You have this person saying that he dropped her off at school.
In 2011, former Chief Judge Belvin Perry presided over the Casey Anthony trial. Happy birthday. Now he's showing us the similarities between that case and the investigation into the death of Madeline Soto.
Push the needle, in my estimation, was when they discovered the body.
In both cases, the victims were last seen with the prime suspect. In Maddie's case, she was last seen with Stephan Sterns.
What I would call a pseudo-relative that was close to the child, that was in a...
And that was disgusting there. I want you to know, folks, while that was playing out, they were searching Jenn's condo for evidence. We don't know if it's the crime scene yet, but they were staying in a hotel together, and she was comforting Stephan Sterns. So did she know? And she was still comforting him? Did she not? I think that we all deep down have a suspicion that it's more than just handing her daughter over at this point. And for those that don't, that's okay. Let me know. But the reason I say I'm not in this case. The reason they are taking their time is because they want to make sure they get it to stick. They spelled Stephan Sterns wrong too. That's okay. I do that all the time.
What I would call a pseudo-relative that was close to the child, that was in a familiar relationship with the child.
Sterns, who now sits in the Osceola County Jail, told investigators he dropped Madeline off for school Monday morning. He was arrested Wednesday in Kissimmee for child sexual battery and has yet to talk to police. Madeline's body was discovered Friday in a wooded area. Judge Perry says evidence from several surveillance videos could supply probable cause to charge Sterns with murder.
It's really putting together a jigsaw puzzle piece by piece.
It is, and they're doing that with Jenn, and they might need Stephan Sterns' statement in order to get it to stick, and so that he doesn't get the death penalty. I want to shout out also, shout out to Which She's A and Adam. I also want to shout out to Oblivious Benson, everybody. Oblivious Benson, aka Cat, is amazing. I love her. If you guys go to her chat later, if she's on, tell her Jay from Guilty of Crime says hello, and hopefully I catch her later on. Tawanda Thornton is a new member. You won't be disappointed. I can't wait. I can't wait for you to be at the members only with us talking trash behind the scenes, folks. All right. And doing true crime at the same time, but we've got to get it out. OB is my daddy, Adam says. Yeah, OB's everybody's daddy, which means that we're all cousins and there's uncles going on. But yeah, OB is awesome, and she kind of keeps my mind going everywhere. Hiya, Jay, you're so great. Thank you. Tell OB I said hello if you see her later online.
And the police will build their case.
Now, Judge Perry says that it could be 2 years away from the indictment. He also says as law enforcement continues to get evidence, more will come to light about what exactly happened to Madeline Soto. For now, we are live at the Osceola County Jail. There are Matthew, Channel 9, Eyewitness News.
And I know a lot of people are upset when people flip-flop, but it's people's opinions are their opinions. I think that all of our opinions are coming from our experiences, and we've all had different experiences. And Kat's experience is that of having a mother that's all drugged out and knowing or seeing that from a friend's mother or whatever. So it's coming from her experiences. So I don't say anything about what people think. I just want to know what your opinion is. Also, culpable equals deserving blame, Jenn Soto. I also want to get Leilani Tirado how to become a member. So, Jojo, if you want to drop a link in there, that'd be great. All right, let's finish up with what we think and why it's taking so long. It's really not taking that long. They're trying to get the charges to stick for, I believe, being an accomplice of some sort in the murder and neglect for all the SA charges.
That, to me, was a huge eye-opener. Could it really take 2 years for a murder indictment on this case?
Hello.
That sounds like a hell of a long time. And I don't think it would or should take that long. But let's face it, one of the things that gives us all comfort here is that Stephan Sterns is going nowhere.
Thank you, Bree.
If push comes to shove and he wants to push this case, they could bring the trial forth on the SA based on his cell phone and that arrest, and still hold on to the homicide charges at a later time. However, what we spoke about, ATS News, welcome to the chat. And ATS News, I know you have your own podcast. Congratulations on progressing, and I'm glad you're in the chat here. Erica Sellen, Judge Perry sounds so comforting at the time, a cartoon of a Southern defense.
All right, so we're talking about Judge Perry right now, and I'm assuming that's the Casey Anthony judge. Is that correct? All of you should know that. Everybody's from Florida, I feel like. Millie knows that case. Millie says, in my opinion, she's guilty and knows more than what she's putting out. Thank you, Millie. And I know you're very passionate about the Casey Anthony case as well. I do believe that she's going to be found guilty, and they're going to charge her soon. They're taking their time to make sure. And not the mom was right. The cell mapping data will prove she was home during the assaults. And she was home during the assault. She said she was home during the assaults between 11 p.m. that night and 7:30 in the morning. So she was home. But what was she doing at home? Truth Seeker is new here. Shout out to Truth Seeker. I hope Jen's phone gives more info. I hope it does too. Carol says Jen's jealous of her daughter and probably wanted her gone, so he would focus on her. Makes me sick, but lots of insecure mothers would pick a man over their kids. I've heard that time and time again, folks. I feel like the Soto lady missed all the signs. Well, truth seeker, I'm glad you're a truth seeker because you will find out along with all of us. And if you're right, then we'll all say, truth seeker, you're right. You're right. They don't have any evidence on her, but she still handed over her daughter to the biggest chomo since, who are we going to say here, folks? So, but I agree with you, and I'll agree to disagree about this. Let's see what happens. Hey, Ashley Thompson at work, Bocata Live. I'm glad you guys made it.
Lawyer. Yeah, you know something? It's the old expression, Erica. You can't always judge a book by its cover, right? And he may look like the stereotypical Southern judge, but you know something? He's pretty damn good at his job, you know? So what are we learning here? I mean, what we're learning is that we keep going back to, and you know, people all in the true crime community, red flags with this red flag, that red flag.
Right. What happened there? No. Yeah, we don't want to talk about red flags, folks. We want to talk about real, true evidence that's happening. And I don't know what happened there. So let me, I have 601 people in chat. If you can please hit that like button, that would help get in the algorithm, and you just help the channel out overall. So, does anybody have any questions about anything at all? I'd like to, I know some of you had questions about Tyler Wallace and Tatiana. Me and my mom, Jenn was guilty of something before her body was found. The way she was speaking on the news, it's just such a shame. I can't wait for the evidence, and I can't either. And I want us not to fight. I still want us to say, you know what, you were right, and hopefully justice is served in some semblance. All right. So, is there any other questions you want? We definitely need to get. We need to get CM back on here and get all those questions answered. I didn't realize there was going to be so many people on here today. We have 581 people. You guys are amazing. Hit the like button. I'm just waiting for Jenn to get arrested. Jail for Jenn. She will go to jail. Davey says, honestly, anyone banned from fewer than 10 channels by now should be probably ashamed of themselves. Oh man, you guys, too much, Davey. It was True Seeker says it's hard. I was forced not to tell, but I do agree the mom was blind and things that she did as a mom, I can't believe. Well, another thing is why all the lies. If she was that blind and that dumb, when all of the interviews were happening on the news station, why did she lie so many times? We counted the times. I think you missed part of that. But we counted the time, so it'll be interesting. And thank you. I hope that you sub and you come back to the channel. CM, we need another interview. I don't care what anyone says. We need another interview. Are you saying there's only not even 400 likes with 580 people, folks? I guess you don't like the content. Has anyone found the baby boy Vu? Well, nobody's found Vu, and the court dates are coming up in July. I have a hope for Elijah Vu wristband that I'm wearing until something happens. Thank you to JT for that. Davy Jones, Brian in jail. Davy Jones, I've never been banned. I just don't like being in trouble. Yeah, thank you, JoJo, for saying Elijah Vu has not been found. Thank you. Hit that like button, everybody. For all you new people, hit the like, hit all notifications. USA Kiwi 1986. And Jenn saying how much Maddie said she loved her gifts. Another huge lie for what? There was just too many lies. And Truth Seeker, I hope you're right. I would rather have a mother being manipulated than the alternative, but I don't think she was manipulated, because why all the lies on the news station? Think about that. All right. Mariah says, I think judges should have a psychology background. Children are going the wrong parents. Children, and I agree. And Truth Seeker, I'm glad you've been working in crime. Yes. What does the algorithm mean? The algorithm means that my channel is going to come up when you're looking for Jenn Soto. It's behind the scenes. It's algorithmic, like math. It's an algorithm. It's a model that puts our channels into it. All right. Lori Drain, love this channel, and we love you. I appreciate you all, and I also love that you are here and you can agree to disagree and not get all upset and start name calling. Room numbers, so sus. Those room numbers didn't exist when CM was there, by the way. That's really weird. Jenn started losing more money. She needed more hours. She needed more money. Succubi wasn't working. Stephan Sterns. And they started putting numbers and renting out rooms, folks. Like trending on X. That's right. I bet Jenn is staying away from mirrors. I bet so, Tracy Pope. I bet so. All right. Hit that like button, everybody. I'm not sure why we don't have 444 likes when we've had over 600 people in here. There's 567 right now. You guys are awesome. Hit the like button. Let's get in the algorithm, and then you'll see more things coming up and more people on my channel. All right. So let's hit that like on your way out. And on that note, I'm going to be on my way out and find something to do. It's 2:53 in the Bay Area of California, and I don't have anything going on. So let's find something for all of us to do. Have a good night. If anyone sees Oblivious Benson, let her know I said hello. I could probably text her, but if anyone does see her, tell her I said hi and that I shouted out her channel and Duty Ron. Have a good night, y'all.
Guilty of crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Are you guilty of crime?